Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by Big League Chew. This is episode 331. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin, and I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
Good day, good people. Casey, how we doing? Are you staying warm, bro?
Dude, it has been cold as...
All I'm seeing is that like 60% of the country is just like in 12 feet of snow.
It's so cold. Apparently it was like in the 40s down in Florida this week.
Dude, I saw that there were some like single digits.
It was 5 degrees out here this week. 5 degrees.
There were some people that like North Texas that were in negative temperatures.
No thanks. I'll pass on that.
I golfed yesterday. It was a high of 70. Should I point that out to everybody?
Yeah. So anyway, moving along here.
Whoops.
No, it was good. Christmas was good. Got some... got the hookup.
You got some goods?
Got some goods.
Shout out Meredith on that neon sign behind you.
Yeah.
Shout out YouTube, by the way, if you're not watching.
Shout out YouTube. Check out the YouTube. Yeah, this little homemade neon sign back here.
That's sick, dude.
She's like, yeah, I know you'll probably replace it with a real deal neon sign down the road, but here's one for you for the time being. I'm like, honestly,
that's dope.
I love it. So
you guys are so crafty, man.
That's all her.
You're just so crafty.
That's all her.
You're like refurbishing furniture, and
I'm putting together
TVs like
that people. By the way, little PSA for those of you out there: if you go on Facebook Marketplace, a little insider's tip here. If you go on Facebook Marketplace, look for TVs where people just like find a TV that you like that's nice that somebody's giving away for free, preferably for free. But if it's like $10-20 and they're just like, hey, this TV doesn't work, get it, because they'll go quick. And then you can spend the next day or two researching like what you need on like how you need to fix it on YouTube, and then you can fix it, and then you've basically got a brand new TV. Because a lot of times, like I know nothing about TVs, and I've discovered that these parts are like $10-20, possibly like $50. But if you fix it and you know what you're doing,
you're still coming out on top.
You can have like a $500 TV for like $30. So just a little PSA. That's what I've been doing.
I'm convinced that Facebook Marketplace is just filled with like old divorced ladies that just don't know what they have.
And that's where you gotta snatch it up, take advantage.
Yeah, they're just like, I'm sick of hiding or storing my husband's crap, and then they just throw it up there, and they're like, oh, it's a Lou Gehrig signed baseball back here. There's $40 for it, or best offer.
$40 or best offer.
OBO.
I've seen a lot of that. Man, people are just giving away stuff. It's insane. But anyway, PSA, check out Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
It's a jungle out here.
Yeah. You guys are so crafty, man. That's so cool.
Speaking of Christmas, what did you said you were going to save something for the pod.
Dude,
what do you got?
Yeah. Mama Reyes hooked it up, bro. She hooked it up. This is my favorite thing I got. So it's like it's got like a case, and it's like a crystal baseball with like a hollow center, and it's like the dirt from Yankee Stadium.
Oh, that's sick.
Derek Jeter's last year.
Really? That's awesome.
So it's like it's from Fanatics, so it's like all verified and stuff, but it's like, yeah, just it's got the little verification thing on there. Boom.
Does it say like what game or like what day?
It doesn't say. It doesn't say specifically, but it is from 2014.
That's awesome.
Which was last year. So, yeah, it's really sick. Yeah, this is not from any particular game, but isn't that sweet, man?
That's sick.
So like, I'm trying to decide if I like keep it in this thing or keep it out.
Look at you, man.
Look at that. Pretty dope.
Our
Pretty
memorabilia collection has grown over the life of this podcast.
It has, man. You remember,
incredible.
like, we used to have nothing. I used to have like 3 things that were behind me.
I had stuff, but I couldn't really do anything in a walk-in closet. I couldn't really display it proudly in there. So.
I'm pretty sure there were actual episodes of us recording. You had clothes like still hanging behind you.
Yeah.
Hangers.
Yeah. But there's no video evidence of that, so we'll never know for sure. Speaking of not knowing for sure, Carlos Correa, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? If I could sum up this Carlos Correa situation, it would be Jim from The Office when he says, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
Just looking like a crazed lunatic. That's how I feel right now. Like, I woke up, I was trying to enjoy my break, and this would have been just a few days ago at this point. I'm losing all sense of time, so don't ask me.
It could have been a month ago. I have no idea.
Could have very well been a month ago. It could have been yesterday. I couldn't tell you. But I remember waking up to a text saying, or not a text, but a notification with the red sirens saying Carlos Correa signs with the Mets. And I'm thinking,
I thought it was a joke.
Yeah, I'm saying, who got access to my push notifications and why are they pulling this prank on me? Because I'm not at the moment very much enjoying this prank because, like, we're trying to stay on our P's and Q's this offseason and keep people informed, give people their takes. But if we're getting these fake notifications, I'm not going to know what's true or what's not.
And it is like a trend right now too. Like, people like tweet out like fake stuff, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what's the point of this fake stuff? I don't understand.
So this whole time I'm sitting here thinking that Carlos Correa is with the Giants. They got their guy, and then all of a sudden the Giants get cold feet because of some medicals, which I tell you, after the last 2-3 years, I've gotten to the point where I won't believe a single thing until pen is put to paper, because like we mentioned last year, we had Max Scherzer going to the Padres. And when I say we, I mean the baseball world had Max Scherzer going to the Padres. He was a Padre.
Yeah.
They were firing up the jersey machines, getting ready to just mass produce. And all of a sudden he goes elsewhere. Carlos Correa, you have going to the Bay, the franchise guy. They miss out on Judge. They go get their guy. They're plan B, I should say. It was probably like their plan C. They were going after a lot of guys. Giants have missed out on everybody.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. But then you find out that no, not to be the case. Carlos Correa is a Met. And then you find out days later that, oh wait, actually maybe the Mets aren't fully in. And then you find out, oh wait, maybe the Mets are legally contractually required to be in because Steve Cohen was commenting on the situation. And then you find out, oh wait, there's 3 or 4 teams that are still in on Carlos Correa. So I don't really know what to believe. I don't know what Carlos Correa is right now. Like, is he technically a Met? Is he still technically a free agent? I don't know.
Dude, the whole thing was just, it's still very strange. I don't remember ever seeing anything like this, like in sports in general. Like, and I keep hearing, like, this is not MLB's fault. These are like the teams. MLB is continuing to tell these teams, stop announcing pending deals. Like, just stop. Wait until it's pen to paper and it's done before you make it public. I had 2 things come to mind for me. Number one, when I thought the Mets thing was a lock and when it was all like settled, he's switching to third base, I got like, history repeats itself. I got like an A-Rod rewind. Basically a Red Sox, blocked by the commissioner, goes to New York, changes to third base, right? Like all that stuff. So I just got like this, whoa, all of this sounds really familiar. The other thing I thought of after now, being where we are, it made me wonder, did the Twins even put Carlos Correa through a physical? Or did they just not really care? When they offered Homie a lot of money, and he signed there, if this injury was that big of a deal, wouldn't it have been a big deal even for this 3-year or 1 year / 3-year option deal that they had? You know what I mean?
That's a good thought, because if you're the Twins, Carlos, and we've talked about this, Carlos Correa was not going to be the make or break for the success that you would see or not see in 2022. Like, you were not a Carlos Correa away from winning the World Series.
No.
So it almost seems like that's a very real possibility that they were just like, we need a guy. We need a guy who's going to be that guy. We'll throw stupid money at him and we'll just push him through. It's like that guy, that video of that security guard just throwing his arms down.
Yeah, not even touching people.
Yeah, not even touch people.
That's 100% what the Twins did.
That's the Twins. That's the Twins.
You want to play here? You want to sign a contract here? Come on in.
You could make the argument that that's
ankle?
what.
Never heard of it.
You could make the argument that security guard is the Minnesota Twins, but also Steve Cohen, because Steve Cohen, which that's just a weird situation in itself. How does that happen? Literally within minutes, hours of that deal? Like, I'm sure there's some things going on behind closed doors, but like, how do they pivot that quickly? But before we get any further, I feel like I need to state that if for some reason this conversation becomes outdated within hours, like if it's announced that Correa is a Met, or if that deal falls through, hold on to your seats. Like, it seems as though we've learned nothing. That it's very possible that if you find out in the next couple hours, or if you've already found out that Carlos Correa is this or that it's possible that he could be an Oakland A by the start of 2023 if he runs through all of his options and none of them pan out. So just sit tight. Like, we got a lot to like look at here, but just understand that we've already seen it once, twice, if you want to call it that, of thinking that he's going to be somewhere and he ends up elsewhere. Because like we talked about, the Mets now, it seems, have gotten cold feet. So I don't really know what to think of the medicals, because if you're looking at Carlos Correa, he's had, minus some freak stuff since that injury. I think it was 2014. He had the surgery in 2014. He broke his fibula sliding during a minor league game. If you look at Correa, you got to think like, he's been fine. He's been fine.
That's what I'm saying. Everything keeps saying like the long term, and it's like, is this not already 8 years? Is that not long term? Is this not long enough? I don't understand. He's still hitting for power. He's still running pretty well. Still has a cannon.
I don't understand. I get the Giants. Like, if you're the Giants and you're looking for any way out, and you come across this medical history, which again doesn't seem like something that has to be groundbreaking. Like, I'm sure these people have departments that look into these things on a regular basis, where like if there's somebody that they're interested in, they're probably looking into that well in advance to say like, okay, based on the information we have or don't have, this guy is either going to be a good fit or he's not going to be a good fit, or hey, red flag here, whatever.
Yeah.
This happened in 2014. So I can't think anything other than the fact that the Giants just decided maybe we rushed to throw this money and this type of contract, this length of a contract, to a guy that we maybe, if you asked us a month from now, we probably wouldn't agree to such a deal. But they panicked because everything was falling through. They missed out on everybody, and they said, let's go get Correa.
Not only did they panic, but they also like ghosted him, apparently. Like, they freaked out after their team doctors said this is an issue, and they all you hear is the postponement of Like on our end, all you hear is postponement of the presser. Next thing you know, he's a Met. And apparently all negotiations stopped. So it keeps coming back to me. I'm like, if this is that big of a deal to where you're not even continuing negotiations, you're not even trying to salvage this, it's got to be a pretty big deal. For them to just totally ghost him makes no sense to me.
And the crazy thing,
Boras said his whole family was like waiting in the hotel, like he was like ready to go.
He was dressed, ready to go to the press conference. So like, how do you get that close to signing a franchise guy and then just pull the plug, and then not even follow up with a guy? Like that's
odd.
That's very odd. Like I'm gonna need some more information.
Another
on
Giants L. I'm just gonna be honest. It's another Giants L. This has been the worst offseason for the Giants. And Giants fans, I feel horrible for, dude. Like, this is bad.
And what was the original deal with the Giants was $13,350, which would have been the most expensive contract for that position in baseball history. The Met, when he pivoted to the Mets, or I don't know if he pivoted. I'll say when Boras pivoted to the Mets, which I don't even know if I could call it a pivot, because I'm pretty sure Boras was already in cahoots with Cohen anyway. Like, I feel like that's maybe where he wanted to end up anyway. But when that change happened, when that pivot happened, it was a 12-year, $315 million contract. And I mean, that's still a lot of money, but I did have a couple people reach out to me and say, isn't it interesting that you guys were saying that Carlos Correa would be getting more money than Trey Turner? And I said, well, you can't look at this situation and say that that's the same thing, because if you look at if it would have went through with San Francisco, he's going to be the richest shortstop in baseball history.
Yeah, and none of us knew about this 2014 injury until now.
Yeah, so all that to say, I don't. Again, I can kind of understand if you're the Giants. You're like, okay, we rush into this. But if you're the Mets, I don't understand. That's the part where I'm lost. Because if you're the Mets, if you're Steve Cohen, you're just it's very clear you're just throwing stupid money out. So if you don't get the full return on your investment, what difference does it make? Because you've already proven that you're not spending smart money. You're spending stupid money, and you're okay with that. As an organization, as Steve Cohen, as the owner, you're okay with that. Yeah. So why all of a sudden are we getting cold feet in New York when you've already proven that you don't necessarily care about the logic behind your moves? You're going out and getting the guys because you can. You're going out and flexing your muscles because you can. That's what I don't understand.
Do you have a prediction?
With what I think happens?
Yeah.
If I'm both parties, like if I'm Carlos Correa, I need to see the writing on the wall. And I'm sure there's far more at play than this, but I'm, as a linear thinker myself, I'm going to simplify this as best as I can to just make it make sense in my own head. If I'm Carlos Correa, I have to see the writing on the wall and look at what happened with the Twins and be reminded of the fact that if you play around too long, if you wait around too long, you're going to end up with a situation where you're not going to be happy. Sure, you might get a bag. It's possible it's going to be a short-term deal, and then you're going to have to revisit this conversation X amount of years from now. If I'm Carlos Correa, I need to look at the fact that the reality that these teams are not going to commit. Like, you're almost 0 for 2 now on these long-term deals. If I'm Carlos Correa, I need to be okay with the fact that, or okay with the possibility that my contract may not have a 12-year feature to it. I need to be okay with maybe dropping it down a little bit so that some of whether it's the Mets, Steve Cohen, or some other team.
Reports are saying they're not willing to budge on money or length.
Well, then
and that's Scott Boras. I mean, it's Scott Boras. So.
Which I get, but at that point, I don't know what to tell you, because if you're gonna want a deal, if you're gonna want a contract, if you're if you want to be somewhere where you can win, where you're going to be relatively happy, you're going to have to like give a little bit here, because like I said, you're staring an 0 for 2 in the face right now if this, for whatever reason, this Mets thing falls through. So I don't know where you go from there. If you're not going to budge, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I listened to or I watched a TikTok. I don't remember who it was. It wasn't like Passan, but it was another writer, and it wasn't any like the John Heymans or JP Morosi's or any. I don't remember who it was, but I did hear that things are getting reworked on the Mets side. I think we're going to see a contract that we've never seen before, with a lot of contingencies, specifically referring to the injury. And I think it's going to be, and I understand that like baseball is notorious for having fully guaranteed contracts when most other sports don't. I think this is going to, I don't think it's going to be fully guaranteed. I think it's going to be contingent. And from what this video is saying, I wish I could credit who was in there. It was saying that like, yes, it'll be a 12-year, but if we're missing games due to this injury, specifically this injury, it drops to 9 years. So I think what's going to happen is that you're probably looking at the first 5 or 6 years being a normal deal, right? Where it's high AAV, what he, run of the mill for being a premier shortstop. And then I think the back end is where adjustments are going to be made. So I think we're going to see Carlos Correa as a Met. It's just, I think we're going to read details into this contract, and it's going to be really weird and strange, but I think he ends up staying. Or not staying, but you know what I mean.
If I had to put money on it, I would say he's probably a Met by opening day, but it's just like you were saying, what does that contract even look like?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really like a lot of contingencies and a lot of weird stuff, and it's going to be very bonus heavy, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know.
The other thing that I don't understand is like, are they developing these X-rays by hand, like in a dark room in some back alley? Like, how does a team like the Astros not have any information on this? Or how is this?
Maybe they did. Maybe that's why they moved on. And maybe that's why. Why the Twins only went with a short term. Apparently, this is a long-term issue, so maybe that's why. And when you have, because team doctors, obviously all medical stuff is confidential anyway, because all the disagreements right now are coming between Correa's doctors or Boras doctors, whichever, and those team doctors. So it's obvious that the Giants doctors disagree with Correa's doctors. It's obvious that the Mets doctors disagree with Correa's doctors. So you got to be noticing a trend at a certain point.
But I guess what my question is if we're talking about the very tail end of one of these double-digit length contracts,
it's never worth it anyway,
Right? Like, what? How much different of a decline is it going to be from your average 40-year-old or average 38-year-old? That's what I don't understand.
And I agree with what you're saying about the Mets, because it's like it's stupid money. They're throwing it everywhere anyway. Not to mention, I think the wear and tear significantly drops sliding over to third base.
Sure.
Significantly. Now, especially with shifts being banned. So I don't understand why the Mets are this skittish. Obviously, there's the ability to have, double up on surgery. There's ability to do stuff in the offseason. There's ability to rehab. Like, I think if you took a deep dive into every MLB player, there's going to be something in there that's like, that's a little scary. Not everybody's healthy. Feels weird defending Carlos Correa. I don't like this.
Yeah, it's just a weird situation. And I guess I have to read more into it, but if Cohen is the guy, on the side of the Mets that threw up the red flag, that's pumping the brakes here, that should maybe tell you that this is more serious than we think. Because if the guy who is spending what was like $800 million, close to $1 billion committing, if he's the guy that's like, well, I don't know about this, then okay.
And also, it'd be one thing. While we were talking about earlier, I was looking up just injuries, like why he's been on IL at all throughout his career. All of 2022 was for COVID and a finger. His 3 stints, finger and COVID. And then we know about he had 1 injury in 2020 that just says leg. And then the rest was back stuff. So it's like, I think after 8 years, you would have probably seen some type of, I mean, we see this all the time. You know? Like you see guys that get bad legs and then it turns into calf soreness or strained hamstring, and it's just like,
and they
it all
kind
of
never
leads.
Shake it.
Right, it all kind of follows, but it stays in the lower half. It hasn't been there. So I can understand his camp being like, I'm good. Let's play. But whatever.
I think regardless where he ends up, I'm curious to what extent or how bad this situation is that a team would miss out. For Giants, for example, where you would miss out on a franchise type guy over a couple years. Because again, that if what they're saying is true, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at possibly a couple years at the tail end of his career, even if we're talking prematurely, like if we're talking maybe 35, whereas a guy like Correa elsewhere would maybe start to decline poorly at 38 or something like that. You would still have a guy like Carlos Correa from now until he's 35. So it's like,
you're still getting a good chunk of really good baseball.
And again, that's just hypothetical. Maybe this wouldn't affect him until he's 38, and then you just get the normal decline. So I just don't understand why teams are getting cold feet now, knowing what they know. It's like you either want the guy and you want to put up with the tail end and deal with that later, or you just want to back out. And right now we're sitting at a back out and a half right now. That's what we're looking at.
Do you think it gets settled anytime soon?
I don't know. We wouldn't, if we had any idea about that, we probably would have adjusted our recording schedule a little differently. But the only reason that I was like, hey, let's just run it today is because who knows how long this could take. This could end up getting fixed today. This could end up getting fixed mid-January. I don't know what this process looks like, because I don't feel like we've seen something like this before of this magnitude with a guy like Correa. So minus A-Rod, but that's a different that's even a different situation.
So I'm assuming you can't have a physical until an agreement is pending, at least. Right? Like until an agreement is accepted.
Yeah, I don't feel like you can just be taking random physicals for teams just to.
Right.
Yeah.
Who do you think these other teams are?
I mean, the Twins, I feel like, have to be in there. Like sure. I think at this point they'd take Correa on one leg just to get him back.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like the Dodgers are interested in spending money this year.
Everyone keeps saying the Yankees. I really don't want it.
I've seen the Yankees attached to some weird rumors saying like they're not done yet. They're working some big move. Like, I don't know what that means, but
just offloading idiots. That's what I hope it is.
I guess you could. I mean, I guess you could throw him in there. Beyond that, I don't really know.
I don't know, man. This is stupid.
All I know is I was happy when that Mets news broke because yes, I can further continue my hatred of the New York Mets.
What are you talking about? You're a huge Mets fan.
I'm a huge Mets fan, dude. You don't even know. But just keep him out of Boston. And I was like, you know what? Even now that this Giants thing has fallen through, as long as he doesn't end up in Boston, and sure enough, he ends up in Flushing. But
if he ends up as a Red Sox, this could go down as the worst offseason in your life.
If he ends up a Red Sox, I'll end up on the sidewalk because I will have climbed up to my roof and jumped off.
I understand it. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll end up on the sidewalk. That would cap off the worst. Mm-hmm. You're right. The worst off season for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably in my life.
I would agree.
Just the worst. I think the weirdest thing, last thing I'll say on this situation, I think the most bizarre thing is just how people all of a sudden have forgotten the whole Correa thing. Like I'm seeing people be like, give us Correa. We need him. We need a franchise guy. Like, let's go. He's a Met, which Mets fans have their own issues. So I'm not surprised that they're all sorts of confused. But just like with the Giants were like, we didn't get Judge, but we got our guy. Like they were printing Correa jerseys. People were getting Correa jerseys for Christmas. Like how soon we forget. And we don't need to go down this road because we've already done this. But like we've kind of gotten past the whole scandal thing. And I think others should too, because the trash can narrative, that it's tired. Like it is what it is. The league clearly wasn't going to do anything about it. Yeah. Whatever. But the fact that it's not even being, I just don't even feel like it's being mentioned anymore. People are just like, this is the best shortstop in baseball.
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
I don't know.
It's really weird.
It's just an observation.
It's still there for me. Like I'm over it for sure, but it's the arrogance for me that I'm not on board with.
Yeah, like how can you watch his interviews during that time? Like the one that always comes to mind is the one where he's like
the spring training one.
Yeah,
right?
If they don't know the facts, then they should, like
yeah.
How can you watch that and be like, that's a guy I want on my team? That's the guy that I want to be the face of our franchise. I don't
get it.
Anyway, speaking of face of franchise, Aaron Judge was named the 16th captain of the New York Yankees. Nate, the floor is yours.
Knew it was coming, right? I think everybody did. Love that it's happening. And there's not really much else to say about it.
It's weird. It's weird to me that a guy today has been named a captain, like not just Aaron Judge, not just for the Yankees, but on any team, because I feel like the concept of a captain is almost archaic to me, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I'm saying when I think captain, I think of guys that have played long before our time. I mean, you go back to the early Yankee captains. You go back to a guy like Jason Varitek, who hasn't played in years for the Red Sox. You look at David Wright, who hasn't played in a number of years. And it's almost like I feel like once that wave of captains came through, it doesn't make any sense. But in my head, I was like, okay, well, that's like the end of the captain thing. Because you look at it as such an honor. And you almost, it's for, at least for me, it's hard to fathom that a guy like Aaron Judge can be lumped in into the same conversation as like some of those other Yankee greats who are captains. But then it's like you think about it and it's like, well, they were at one point named a captain. So like, why not make our guy a captain? I don't know. It's just weird.
I think it only makes sense for a few organizations. If you're not doing captains, I don't think it's cool to just like immediately start and jump into the mix. I think if it's something that it's been a tradition, it's cool. I think I've always, this is something that is pretty irrelevant to anybody outside of Yankee fans, in my mind. I don't think anybody really cares. Yankee fans care because it's been this, like, it's this, you go through these phases without having any, you know? Like you go through these stretches of not having anybody in that role. And even Jeter, I mean, it's just like it didn't come around for a while, you know? I want to say it was like 06, 05 when he became a captain, something like that. And, you know, that's 10 years into his career. So it's just like, it's interesting to see how it naturally plays out. It's interesting to see how the clubhouse and the fans are like just yearning for it. It's just like, please name him. And then you'll go through these stretches where it's just, there's nobody. And I think that's what's kind of cool, is that it's not a forced thing. It doesn't have to be there. It's just there when it's supposed to be there. But it is a tradition that I think, again, it's specific to certain organizations. So I like it. I'm happy about it. I don't think anything really changes. It's just an honor. You know, it's a title. So yeah, I'm excited. I think it seems like he's, you know, pretty serious about it. And it's cool that, like, you know, Jeter was there to kind of pass the torch. Willie Randolph was there. So, you know, it's I think it's pretty dope. And you could see how Yankee captains and legends are kind of just etched in stone and remembered forever. So I told you, I mean, this is what I've been saying for 9 months. He wasn't going anywhere. I told you he wasn't going anywhere. I told you it wasn't about the money. It was about him wanting to have an opportunity to be historic. And this was the place that he's going to be historic with. Let's just hope it comes with rings.
I wouldn't count on it. Michael Conforto, 2-year, talking about the Giants. Let's transition back into some free agency talk. 2-year, $36 million deal with the Giants. You know, I mean, good for the Giants, I guess. They like we talked about, they missed out on their keystone pieces, but I think, and even last episode, I remember saying that I thought the Giants, you know, they weren't going to be bottom of the barrel. At least I don't think that that'll be the case. But like, even knowing that they missed out on Judge, they missed out. I mean, you can go further back. They missed out on Harper. They missed out on, I think they were in the mix for Trey Turner. You missed out on a guy like Trey Turner.
I think they were, yeah.
Even with that, and now we've learned that they've officially missed out on Carlos Correa, which at last episode we didn't know it at that point. But even with that said, I still like the moves that they've made to kind of plug some holes. I think missing out on Correa maybe shaves a few wins off their total for 2023, but at the end of the day, I don't hate it.
How many corner outfielders do you need? Look at their roster right now.
I mean,
Luis Gonzalez, Mitch Haniger, Jock Peterson, Austin Slater.
Jock's going to be a depth piece.
Lamont Wade Jr. and Yaz. And now Conforto.
How much control for Wade? What's his contract looking like? Because I could see them. I could see. I'm trying to think who would be left of that mix. Lamont Wade. I could see them shipping.
I mean, Lamont Wade's protected until 2026, so he's not going anywhere. He'll be age 32. You know what I'm saying? Like these are a lot of guys that aren't a stud center fielder.
Sure, but Jock is gonna. I mean, yeah, maybe you still need to plug some holes elsewhere, but you can at least just look at that and say, okay, well, Jock's not going to be your everyday guy. You went out and got Haniger. You went out and got Conforto. Like, these are going to be the guys that I think you're going to be plugging into the lineup more times than not. Like that, I think that's a pretty safe bet. What you do with those other guys, I don't know. Like, do you put Yaz in center? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably going to be a rotating door at center.
I mean, look, I've seen it all.
You know how we feel about teams that aren't set up the middle. You
Sure.
know how we feel about that.
But like I've seen it all now. Like if Aaron Judge can play center field, I'm convinced that anybody can play center field. And that's not a knock towards Aaron.
Relax.
It's not a knock towards Aaron Judge, but it's like you have this vision of what a center, or like you have this concept of what a center fielder should look like, and like the role that he should play. But Aaron Judge was that guy for the Yankees, and he did fine. So it's like, okay, maybe we can throw the whole center field.
You're also talking about a massive ballpark.
Yeah, but like
huge outfield.
I get it, but like you can at least throw that out the window for the time being if you don't have a guy to fill that hole. So it's like, okay, we don't have a JBJ in terms of defensive ability, but like we have a guy that can play. He's physically able to play center field, and he can provide us some pop in the lineup. So let's just plug and play. And you can do that with multiple of those guys, I would think.
It's all weird. It seems random. Their signings seem random to me. That's how it's coming off to me.
How do you feel about Taylor Rogers?
It's cool that they're, the Rogers brothers are together.
3-year, $33 million deal.
He had a rough year last year, didn't he?
Yeah, he went 4-8 with a 4.76.
Yeah, buy low on him. I don't know. Nothing about the Giants gets me fired up. It doesn't.
They're trying to get people fired up, Nate, but they're falling short. Okay, they're trying.
Well, how much does this falls on what's his face, Zahidi? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah,
the GM.
I don't. What are you asking? Like what?
It's not getting the job done. I mean, like this. You were complaining about this with the Red Sox a couple of weeks ago. How you keep hearing rumors that they're in on a guy, and it's just like, oh yeah, they were in the mix, but of course never.
Yeah, but like, I legitimately
there's a problem with the culture.
There's
a problem with the culture there.
I'm going to defend my own honor here, my friend, because to me, the Red Sox are different because with the Giants, I legitimately believe that they're not being used as a bid increaser, if you will. They're not just being thrown out there to run the money up.
Right.
Elsewhere.
I think the offers are legitimate. Yeah.
I believe they're putting legitimate offers out there. But like you look at the Aaron Judge situation, for example, I just don't. If you're the Giants, personally, I don't think Judge is worth more than what he got. So if you're the Giants, you have to have some sort of cap and be like, look, we're going to give it everything we got here, but we have to be somewhat reasonable. And I know I talk all the time about you have the money, just spend it. But like for one guy who, again, I don't personally think he's worth more than what he got. Like if you're the Giants, you have to wave the flag and be like, look, our chances going up against the Yankees, a team that he's comfortable with, a team that he's played for his whole career. I don't think we really.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with missing out. The problem is that no one's saying yes to them.
No, I get it. I agree, but
it's for a historic franchise.
Sure, but like you're saying it's a culture thing. I don't think you can fix that in an off season. So the only thing that they can really do right now is put out the best offers, and I think they are, but these guys are saying no for what reason we don't know. Maybe it is a culture thing. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know why you wouldn't want to go out to the Bay, play in that ballpark. Like sure, it's expensive.
I don't know either.
It's expensive to live out there. We know this, but I'm sure these guys are doing fine. But I don't know if I necessarily. It's hard for me right now at this stage in the game to put much blame on the Giants. Like I feel for Giants fans right now, dude. Like they've gone through.
There's an issue here. I just think there's an issue. Then I think that it's gonna come down to if that GM doesn't get people there, if you can't find a way to create a winning culture and create the desire to be there, outside of what's already built in the fact that it's a historic franchise, a beautiful ballpark, a really engaged fan base, something's got to give.
Something we haven't really brought up yet to this point, Nate, is it's very possible that maybe they got cold feet because they realized just how serious they were about potentially entering the Shohei sweepstakes next year. And maybe that's where the culture shift happens. Who knows? Speaking of the Angels, Brandon Drury, 2-year, $17 million deal with the Angels, the Mets of the West. I mean, good for the Angels, I guess. I'll be honest, a lot of these deals, and we'll get there are some that do, but a lot of these deals don't move the needle for me. I mean, getting a guy like Brandon Drury, that's awesome. I mean, we saw a little bit of a decline. What was it, in the second half?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it translated well over to the Padres, right? I'm trying to look it up.
He had a little bit of a dip. I mean, he finished the year with he hit 20 with the Reds? Or was it 20 on the year? I think it might have been 20 on the year. But I mean, I guess if you're the Angels, good pickup. I mean, the potential's there, the versatility's there. It's just a matter of which version of Brandon Drury you're going to get.
Yeah, he hit 20 with the Reds, 8 with the Padres in 46 games.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if you're the Angels, Mike Trout very well may quit baseball. Shohei's gone, so what is this all for? It's for nothing.
Still comes down to pitching for them, But overall, I mean, I don't hate their lineup.
We're like looking
if you get any ounce of healthy Rendon back to the mix,
which I don't think they will.
You don't think so?
No, I think Rendon has seen his better days.
They also added Renfroe.
Yeah, which is, I'll give him credit. That's a good pickup. So I mean, we just talked about Drury. You're looking at Drury, Renfroe, Gio Urshela. They added. You're gonna be enjoying your farewell tour for Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout. Like I said, he could quit baseball halfway through the year because it's such a fraudulent organization. Anthony Rendon, there is some potential for upside there. I don't think it's going to happen. I've given up on the whole Anthony Rendon experiment. I think it's a waste. I think it's a wash. Taylor Ward, Jared Walsh,
David Fletcher. I mean, like, you see what I'm saying? The lineup, it's got some bop.
Yeah, it does come down to pitching for the Angels, but
yeah,
like we said, the Angels could draft. Well, they quite literally did. They draft all pitchers. You can trade for all the pitching you want, but it's not gonna matter.
See, the way you feel about the Giants is the way I feel about the Angels. I'm not saying they're going to do anything this year. I'm just saying I can appreciate the effort.
Oh, yeah, I'll give them that.
Getting Tyler Anderson, getting those other names you already talked about. This is a competitive product. You got to give them credit on that. This is going to be a competitive team.
I'll give them that. But you
can argue this is the most that they've done.
Sure.
Because in years past, it's always been just one massive contract, right? The Josh Hamiltons, the Anthony Rendons, just one massive contract, and there's still a ton of holes. You got to give them credit on plugging a lot of these holes.
I agree with you, but look at the New York Mets. It's the same thing. We joke about it all the time. Oh, the Angels are the Mets of the West. You look at the Mets. They're not doing anything. So if with the roster construction that they have, if they're not doing anything, and I believe the Angels are literally the little brother of the Mets in that regard, if the Mets can't do anything, and we saw it play out in October last year, if they can't do anything with that, I have no reason to believe out west that the Angels are going to be able to do anything with that. With that said, though, I do agree. I applaud the effort. They've done far more than my team has done, and we'll see how it pans out, but I don't think it's going to translate to anything happening in October whatsoever. I don't even know if it'll really even be competitive in that division again.
I might say that they might be able to chase down a wild card spot. I might creep into that conversation soon.
They need some arms.
We'll see. You got a 1-2. You got a decent 1-2 right now.
Yeah, but guys need more than 1 or 2 days off. Like you need some 3, 4, 5s in there.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're going to make a dent in the postseason, but I think they could find a way to sneak in.
I suppose. Speaking of arms, we don't have to talk about this at length because I don't want to, but we need to talk about that report that came out regarding Chris Sale saying the Boston Red Sox aren't actively shopping Chris Sale, but they are, quote, willing to listen to the right offer. According to John Heyman, which take that as you will, the American League East team is not looking to trade any of their starters, but view rotation as an area of depth and are at least willing to listen and consider. What depth are we talking about? Are you serious right now?
Man.
You've already played the games with Xander. You've already indicated that you're probably going to play those same games with Devers. You went out and signed washed relievers. Not a knock towards Kenley. Led the NL in saves last year. I'm not going to knock him for that. But for all intents and purposes, a couple washed relievers.
End of career, for sure.
You go out and pay for a guy that hasn't played a second of Major League Baseball. You pay him. These are the same narratives that have had me depressed for the last 2-3 weeks. You went out and paid a guy that's never played a second of Major League Baseball. You paid him more than what you offered your franchise shortstop back in spring training. And then you say, how can we further piss off our fan base? Oh yeah, let's go out and say the worst part of our team right now is a facet of our team that we believe has depth. Depth is how we would describe that facet of our team. The starting pitching, the rotation. Give me a break. I will say, the words Chris Sale and trade, the words Chris Sale and actively shopping excite me very much. That moves the needle for me because I could not be more done with the Chris Sale experiment. Chris Sale, thank you for 2018. But this has been a disaster since then. Sure, a lot of it, well, I won't say a lot of it, some of it not your fault.
That comebacker last year is so much you can do. That
was almost expected. Like,
yeah.
You didn't know it was going to happen, but you had to have an idea that something like that was probably going to happen just with the way that his career has gone. I'm done with the Chris Sale experiment. So please attach it to somebody, ship him off, and let's move forward.
Is he good to go? Is he going to start the year all right? I mean, it was just the broken hand, right? The broken finger. Like, he was back.
Yeah.
Everything else was good. It was just that comebacker that broke his hand.
I honestly don't even remember what they said the outlook for him was, but all I'd say, I don't really care. Ship him off. Find that, quote, right offer, because I don't want him on the team anymore.
I don't. I could see a mid-season trade for him. I think teams are curious to see if there's anything left in him.
That's a big risk, but that's what I'm saying. You have to attach him to somebody to get rid of that.
What's the contract like?
Too much, Nate. Too much.
Let's see. He is wow. He's 35. He's owned 27 and a half for next year, 27 and a half for 2024, 20 in 2025, and then he's a free agent.
Get rid of it all. Like I said, blow it up, blow the whole thing up.
He's got a full no trade clause from 2020 to 2024. He's also got $50 million deferred from 2035 to 2039. So he's going to come back and haunt you in 15 years. Love that.
I won't talk about this anymore. I want to talk about Big League Chew.
I like them. I like those guys. Those peeps over at Big League Chew. Are you a fan?
Yeah, so a little update on the hot chocolate flavor. Apparently, they're not making it right now. I don't know if they plan to make it, but I was seeing something.
What happened?
Actually, it may have been in like the replies of a tweet or something. But I think somebody commented and was like, "Hey, bring back the hot chocolate flavor." So I've been out here keeping an eye out for it. I don't even think it's out there right now.
Not even on Facebook Marketplace?
I don't know if I'd want to buy gum off Facebook Marketplace.
You can find anything, I'm sure. I believe in you. Surprised that you buy your house off of Facebook Marketplace.
There are houses there. You can find a living situation on Facebook Marketplace without question.
Oh, man. Big League Chew. Founded by former left-handed pitcher Rob Nelson, Big League Chew started from humble beginnings in the Portland Mavericks bullpen in 1977. For more than 40 years, the iconic pouch is packed with shredded, flavorful bubblegum has become the #1 shredded gum of athletes everywhere. Big League Chew has sold more than 900 million pouches and is designated as the Hall of Fame bubblegum. Grab some gum, head to Big League Chew's social media channels at Big League Chew on Twitter, at Big League Chew Gum on Instagram to show off your Big League bubbles. You can also find a list of retailers that purchase any of their products directly from their website at bigleaguechew.com. BLC.
Big League Chew. This is random, but I just remembered it. I got in my stocking this year. I got a pack of Topps baseball cards.
Okay.
And I'm going through, and got a Wander Franco rookie card. Got
solid.
A couple Bobby Witt rookie cards.
Solid. Couple.
There was somebody else. Another rookie card for some, I can't remember, but I was pretty pleased with that, Pretty pleased.
That's sick.
Yeah.
It's just a good pack, or it's like specific to rookies?
No, it's just a good pack. It was one of those hobby boxes.
Yeah. I think those two are gonna be solid.
Yeah. Anyway, Craig Kimbrell 1 year, $10 million deal with the Phillies. This doesn't move the needle for me. This was one of those ones that just doesn't do it for me. Like I'm trying to think of that example. Oh, you know what it was? You know what I compare this to is when you get a guy that's like 38 years old and he was an MVP when he was like 24. And the article headline is team acquires MVP blah 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 for a 2-year whatever. That's how I view this Craig Kimbrell deal, because I keep seeing headlines say one of the best of his generation. I'm like, no, sure, but not right now. Like, this deal does nothing for the Phillies.
Yeah. Whatever.
There's probably Dodgers fans saying that this deal makes the Phillies worse.
Yeah. I'm so done with Kimbrell. I couldn't be more over it. There's nothing about this that you know that these longtime closers, like, they struggle mentally accepting any other role. To find that mentality of the ferocity that they once had. So it's like, are you really gonna bank on him? I mean, try him out. I told you last year that he was gonna eventually lose the closing job with the Dodgers. I said it quickly. I said like May. I think I said May 15th.
That was one of your hot takes.
Yeah. It didn't happen that quick, but it did happen. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the same thing. And, the Phillies, what was the deal for 1 year? 10?
10.
I guess nowadays 10 milli is just whatever. So it's like take a flyer and try him out until June.
I got a little nugget here from ESPN. Kimbrel posted a 3.75 ERA and a career low 27.7% strikeout rate with the Dodgers. His first one run save didn't occur until the middle of August. A little over a month later, he was removed as the team's closer. He finished the year with a 6-7 record and 22 saves. Great move for the Phillies. Really moving your team forward here.
Yeah, we're going to have to go get somebody else. I don't know who else is available.
I'm surprised a guy like Kimbrel has bounced around as much as he has. This will be 7 teams for him.
That's what I'm
now.
saying. Like, what are the teams seeing? What are they getting fired up about?
I don't know. Dalton Varsho. This caught me by surprise a little bit.
It did for me too.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I thought the Diamondbacks had found something in this guy, and then you just go ship him off.
Dude's an athlete and can swing it. Who else can play catcher and center field? There's not too many people that can do that.
I'll tell you what, man, that was quite the acquisition for me in fantasy. That freed up a lot of space.
Kid's a stud. Kid is a stud.
A lot of space. Blue Jays ship off top catching prospect Gabriel Moreno and Lourdes Gurriel Jr., which I feel like, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong here, but like a respectable return. Like you're getting, you're getting what you hope is going to be a good return from the catching position.
What I'm hearing about Moreno is that he's going to end up being like a top 5 hitter in baseball. That's what I keep hearing.
But again, we have to tread lightly.
That's what
here.
you get with prospects.
Yeah,
It's just, I don't know his timetable. I don't know how soon it'll be up.
And not to interrupt, but let me clarify, because I know people are like, well, you're contradicting yourself based on prospects. Dalton Varsho, the reason I'm okay with this trade or with the return here and with this trade, if you're the D-backs, is because you're not shipping off a guy like Mookie Betts. You're not shipping off a guy like Juan Soto. Like, could Dalton Varsho be one of the top players in the game at some point? Who knows? It's possible. Some in that organization might even say it's likely. But it's still early. So I'm okay with the deal like this, where it's like, okay, if for whatever reason you feel as though it's time to part ways here, okay, just get a good return. And I think they got a respectable return.
It's fair. And I mean, they're kind of, I see how they're prepping to pay Vladdy and Bo. Like it's trending that way to where they're clearing up space. They got rid of Teoscar earlier. They traded him to the Mariners. That's your right fielder. Lourdes Gurriel played quite a few games at left field.
And
their outfield is
you're set behind the dish. Like you've got Danny Jensen and Alejandro Kirk.
You got Danny Jensen. You got Kirk. You got this Moreno kid that's, I don't know his timetable. Could be a few years. Varsho can step into that role. It looks like your starting outfield is going to be Varsho, Kiermaier, and Springer and Wright. So plus defenders. Like this is arguably one of the top defensive outfielders, like outfield in baseball. But I could see how they're prepping to where they're getting rid of guys that they know they're not going to pay for guys that are under control. You get a prospect, you get Varsho, you got guys under control. Kiermaier is he's an elite defender in center field, but that everybody knows what he is. So I see what they're doing, and it sounds like they're kind of just clearing space and making it known we're going to pay our guys, and they're getting things for good pieces. They're getting things for, I mean, Teoscar, I think he's probably the most underrated guy that was a Blue Jay. I think he's going to add a lot of juice to the Mariners. And Gurriel is Gurriel. He can bounce around, play different positions, but Varsho is definitely a stud. I'd feel a little upset if I was the D-backs in my mind.
Yeah, I read a couple articles that were claiming that the D-backs lost a little bit of their identity with this move, which I can understand. Like
Yeah.
I feel like before this goes down, you're looking at Varsho as a guy that's going to be around. He's going to be around for the long haul. He's going to be around. We've talked about it. The D-backs.
Why am I spacing the other catcher that they had that caught most of last year?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Hold on. I'm blanking on it too. Wasn't Carson Kelly, was it?
No. Was it? It was Carson Kelly. Okay. I mean, Moreno is on the Major League roster. Is he on the 40-man? Oh, he debuted last year. I didn't realize that. He debuted in June.
Yeah,
69 at bats last year. He had 319.
Like 30, was it like 30 something games he was in?
Yeah. All right. So they have a ready to go guy. That makes me feel a little better. It's still odd that, like, because Carson Kelly had a good year, right? No, did not. Whoa. Hit 211.
Yeah, so.
But they could feel confident about
Moreno was their guy.
Catching ability, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, I think it's a good move for the again, if you felt the need to get rid of a guy like Varsho, at least you get some good potential there.
I wonder if Gurriel is going to be playing quite a bit of first base. You know? Like Christian Walker at DH. Because they're outfielders. I mean, they have like a lot of young talent. Like we saw Corbin Carroll play a lot. They're pretty high on him.
Christian
Jake
Walker
McCarthy,
can put up some numbers.
Pavin Smith. Yeah. I mean, like they actually got Kyle Lewis. So, I mean, I'm not putting too much stock in that. But like
I forgot about that, yeah.
Yeah, they're putting stuff together. I'm curious to see where Gurriel slides in. I don't know. This team's still far away.
Yeah, but I think we're higher on the D-backs than where we were a couple of years ago.
Truth.
For good reason, that they're bits and pieces. They're putting it together. Will Myers, nothing really to talk about here. 1 year, $7.5 million deal with the Reds. The Reds DFA'd Moustakas, which that's just been a weird career trajectory. Like
I feel bad for the guy. Yeah,
that's been tough. They signed Kurt Casale to 1 year deal with a mutual option. I mean, if you're Will Myers, congrats on the money, I guess.
If you're Will Myers, just rent. Just whenever you get to Cincinnati, just rent. You're not finishing the year there.
You're not putting roots down there by any stretch.
Unless he has a terrible year, he's going to go elsewhere. And there's always the desire for a first base outfielder with a little bit of pop come the trade deadline. He's going to go somewhere else.
Yep. Lastly here, Trevor Bauer's suspension was reduced from 324 games to 194 games.
Which he's already served, correct?
Says he's eligible to return to baseball immediately after the arbitrator applied credit for the time he was on the restricted list in the second half of 2021.
Do we see anybody jumping on him right away?
So the Dodgers have until January 6th to determine whether to release him or add him to their 40-man.
What do you think do you know what they owe if they release him?
Bauer's entering the final year of a 3-year, $102 million contract he signed with the Dodgers in February 2021. He will have lost $37.5 million of that contract through his suspension. The Dodgers saved about $28 million of his salary in 2022 and will save about $9.5 million in 2023. Bauer's remaining $22.5 million salary will be guaranteed even if the Dodgers release him.
So he's a free player? If he's released?
I suppose.
Angels.
I'll be honest. Yeah,
what are you doing?
I don't see the Dodgers. I'll be honest with you. I don't see them.
I think the Angels need to be calling right now.
Yeah. If I'm the Dodgers, I'm cutting ties with Bauer immediately and moving.
But you could argue with Walker Buehler getting TJ. He's out all year. An aging Kershaw.
Yeah, but the Dodgers have shown you already this offseason. I mean, at this point, all the big names are off the board. So the Dodgers have shown you that like they're okay not playing the desperation game. So I don't necessarily know if they look at Trevor Bauer as a guy that they absolutely have to have back. And look, credit to
I would go with the Angels. If I was a betting man, I would say the Angels need to step up and find a way. Yeah,
you are a betting man.
They need to find a way and make that happen.
If the Dodgers have a vision, which again we talked about it, we didn't think that they would let all of these shortstops get snatched up, but they did. Well, assuming this Correa thing pans out. Like they clearly have a vision right now for where their team is headed. So credit to them if they're gonna stay true to that come opening day. Like if we get to opening day and they're still looking about where they are right now, credit to them for having that conviction. But I think if that's the case, that only amplifies the fact that they're not. I would think if that's the case, they're not looking at Bauer as a guy that they have to bring back. So if I'm the Dodgers, I'm moving on. I'm cutting that aspect of my culture out. I'm surgically repairing that. I'm getting that out of there, and I'm moving forward with this vision that you have. So,
do you think he pitches in the big leagues this year?
Somebody's gonna snatch him up, dude. That's just that we've seen this play out one too many times. Like somebody is gonna pick him up. They're gonna pick him up under
somebody that doesn't care about PR.
Somebody
stuff.
that just does not care
because their fans are already unplugged.
Like the Yankees. The Yankees do not care about domestic abuse scenarios whatsoever. So I could see him donning the pinstripes. For the sake of time, that about wraps it up for the free agency update. A lot to cover. It's time for our weekly draft. And you know what? We're going to keep pushing the baseball topics back. We're going to stay with the trend of the holiday season. Well, before we do that, did you have any closing thoughts on free agency, or you want to get into this draft?
I'm ready for everyone to find their team, and I'm ready for trades to start happening. More. I want more trades.
Yeah.
More trades. Now that Christmas is over, time to get back to work. More trades, please.
Yeah. Get back to the office. Start filling out some paperwork. Let's get these trades moving. We're going to stick with the trend. Last week we had Christmas movies, and for the sake of my well-being, I don't know if I want to repeat the results from that draft. So
I'd love to see it.
Let's just go ahead and give Nate the dub there. Nate will get first pick on this draft. Was it
the biggest gap of our
We're going
drafts?
to go with worst. What did we call it?
The worst parts of New Year's.
Worst parts about New Year's draft. For those curious at home and for Nate, the draft last week for the Christmas movies ended up at a discrepancy of 76-24.
Whoa.
It was not good. But you know what? All of my family, I've been seeing the in-laws and all that, they all had my back. So if they've got my back, if nobody else has my back, if my family's got me, I'm good. Whatever. I don't need these losers out here that don't know what a good Christmas movie is telling me that my draft is terrible.
There's no bias attached to your family's opinion. That's cool.
They get it though. They get it. Mom had my back. If mom's got my back, I'm good. You know, that's how I see it. All right. Worst parts about New Year's. And this can be New Year's Eve. This can be New Year's Day. This can be post New Year, like maybe the first week of New Year's. There's a lot at play here. It's pretty wide open. So with that, the first pick of the worst parts about New Year's draft, Nate, the floor is yours.
First round pick, I think it goes both ways. It could be the worst. It could be the best. But I'm going to go ahead and say the worst part of New Year's are the resolutions. They're just stupid. Anybody that does the resolutions, they fail to stick with them by the second week of February. And that's probably generous. Specifically the workout stuff. All you weirdos that just flock to the gym for 6 weeks and then go back to your normal lives. Quit lying to yourselves. Resolutions are stupid. Just be better all around, year round. If you had stuff to fix, you would have fixed it already. This new calendar flipping is not going to help you fix your issues.
Fair enough. You're going with the resolutions. I'm going to play the other side of that coin, and I'm going to say the people that are so adamant against resolutions. If you want to do resolutions, whatever. You're gonna fall out by the second week of. You said February. I'm going January.
That's
the
generous,
second
right?
week of
Yeah.
January. But the people that are so against resolutions, like, no, I'm confident in myself. I am where I need to be in life. Like, shut up. Let people have a resolution. They're gonna fail, but like, just let them have a resolution. Okay? We all know they're gonna fail.
So your first round pick is just Nate. That's all it is.
Like just let people do what they want to do with the resolutions. You're no better. The people that are so against, like, I don't need New Year's resolutions. You're no better than the people that are making up resolutions. That's just the reality of it. Pick number 2.
One could argue it's the same pick, but different picks on opposite sides of the spectrum. So, I mean, I can appreciate it. I can support it. I hear you. Second round pick, staying up late. I'm not staying up till midnight. Not gonna do it. I'm almost 30. This whole phase of, I get it. East Coasters are up late all the time, so it's whatever. I'm not staying up. I'm not waiting till midnight. I'm going to have my fun during the day. And I'm going to go to bed at a reasonable hour. I'm going to roll over. I'm going to turn my alarm off in the morning. And it's going to be the same thing as it was the day before, all the days before, the months before. It's the same thing. It's just another day. I'm not staying up late.
You want to talk about something being just another day. My number 2 pick is the people that shoot fireworks off on the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th.
Great pick, yeah.
What are we celebrating? It's just another day. And don't tell me that you're shooting off spares. Like, save those. Just save them for July 4th.
Did you get any Christmas fireworks going on? I got a couple out here. It's weird. It's odd.
That's not a thing out here.
What are you doing? You need to be like in a food coma right now.
Yeah, not a thing out
fireworks.
Here. That's my number 2 pick.
That's solid. Third pick. This is for all the single people out there trying to find someone to kiss. I mean, that's just that sucks. I feel for you. It's awkward. It's strange. I think a lot of people just end up drinking more because they can't find anybody to kiss. It's a lot of pressure for single people. I feel bad. It's fair, right?
There's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure there.
Yeah.
Number 3 for me, I don't know how to categorize this because I feel like there's a couple things that could be lumped into this, but for the sake of transparency, on my notes app here, I just have in quotes, the see you next year people. And you could just, you could say that this is just like the cliche. You could say this draft pick is the just New Year's cliches, but I'm going to go the New Year, the see you next year people. These are also the same people that say New Year, new me. It's just the dad jokes. It's the cliches. All of it's garbage. Like, you're not funny. The joke was funny maybe the first time it was ever told, like 60 years ago, but it's not funny anymore. Mm-hmm. And using it as your caption for your New Year's post on Instagram or TikTok or Be Real or whatever it is, it's not funny anymore. It's never been funny. See you next year. It's literally, I'll see you tomorrow.
I'm enjoying the tone of this whole episode. This really fits me. I like this.
Come up with a new phrase. It's not funny.
Yeah. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of all this. What am I at? 4?
4.
Well, I know we used this as an example before when we came up with this idea. I'm just going to go ahead and steal it. Just going to come clean. I'm stealing this because it is terrible. The concerts that happen in Times Square are just the worst. It's lip syncing. It's freezing. They're wearing these ridiculous coats. You can tell that they're freezing. No one wants to be there. I'm starting to think Times Square is filled with paid actors. It's miserable. But specifically the concerts. They're never good. If they are singing for real, they sound terrible. If they are lip syncing, you can tell that they are. So, yeah, give me the concerts at number 4.
Number 4 for me, having to go back to work. New Year's marks the end of the holiday break. Regardless what you celebrate, you're going back to work. And that's just a depressing place to be. Sure, the new year can mark a fresh start, positivity, but the reality of it is that you have to go back to work. And nobody wants to go back to work. Unless you have a really sweet job. Then if that's the case, good for you. But the majority of hardworking Americans don't have that luxury. A lot of those folks out there hate their job. And this is just a depressing place to be. Once you cross that threshold into the new year, it's over.
I like it. I like this draft. You're doing good. I'm doing good. I think this is going to be a real close one. I'm not even mad if I lose this one. Number 5, to round it out here. Glitter.
Oh, buddy, you may have just lost it there.
Why? Why is everything have to have glitter on it? Why is glitter end up everywhere for days and days? It's just all over the place. It's all over the stupid sunglasses you guys wear. It's all over the hats. It's everywhere. Glitter is just endless. It sucks.
I agree with you. And let me just clarify, like, my wedding anniversary is quite literally New Year's Eve. So for me to be like harping on New Year's Eve this much it's tough, but
it's a little odd.
I gotta let the people know. I just gotta let people know. Like, I love New Year's Eve as like a day, but just it's the gimmicks that surround it.
Yeah.
Just too much for me. Rounding out for me, number 5. I have got a couple options here I could run with.
I know. It's tough for me to come down to one.
But I'm gonna go with the food. There's no real meals.
It's
on
always
New Year's.
finger food.
It's finger food. It's appetizers. It's food that does not give you the sustenance that you need to survive.
Yeah.
Such a horrendous day. Such a cliche day. Like, if you're going to have to go through all of this, if you're going to have to go through the dad jokes, the see you next year people, if you're going to have to survive through all the glitter that you're going to be subject to.
Mm-hmm. Good luck getting that finger food with glitter all over your hands.
You're going to need some real food. And guess what? They don't have it.
It's true. There's just endless amounts of veggie trays and the cheese and crackers. Just endless. Like, if I'm staying up until midnight, which means you got to stay up till like 1:30, Give me a sandwich at 11. I'm going to need a sandwich or like a burger. I agree with you.
You know where you could get a burger? July 4th. Can't get it.
Where fireworks belong, by the way.
New Year's Eve. Amen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, fireworks are fine, but the night of and no further. Wow.
All right.
Look at us wrapping up 2022 on a positive note.
That's pretty solid, yeah. I gotta toss in my honorable mention. The cost of Uber. That's my honorable mention.
My honorable mention, the ball itself. Like, I've never seen something so like unimpressive. If you're gonna drop the ball, drop the ball. Don't slide it down the pole. Like, what is this like
the inching?
Is this a strip club? Like, why are we dropping it down the pole? If you're gonna drop the ball, drop the ball.
I would love to see a giant ball drop from the top of the building just to the ground. And then all the people in Times Square are like having to run away, like in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where Indiana Jones is just running away from that giant ball. That's what I want to see in Times Square. I want that ball to get loose on the streets, start taking people out.
And then it's like the running with the bulls. It's
yes.
Now
that I'm on board for.
I would watch that. I would
100%.
I would pay-per-view that.
I'd be glued to the TV.
But a ball that slides 3 feet down the pole that has a giant sponsor on it, no thank you. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good one. The sponsors.
Sponsors, yeah.
Oh my gosh, those are unbearable. Anyway, that's what I got.
True.
Happy New Year, folks. We'll see you. I don't know what our plan is. I'll be out of town. We're going to Hawaii for a couple weeks. I'm gonna slide into the suitcase. we may drop a pod, or I don't know. We'll see. May drop one while I'm out there. I was thinking about that the other day. That's one of my favorite aspects of this pod that we do. Is like you can go back and listen, and we've been in different locations. We've recorded on different instruments and using different technology and all this other crap. And it's like a scrapbook.
And before every one of those episodes, it's always leading with I don't know what we're gonna do. So I think that's the best part of it.
That is the best part of it.
You guys are kept on your toes, and you just got to deal with it because we really don't know. We're not lying to you. We just don't know.
We're just here to keep you entertained, and hopefully we've done that. Hopefully we've done that in 2022. We'll see you guys in 2023. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Late Christmas. Happy holidays. And baseball will be here soon.
Yeah. Obviously, the number one resolution anyone should have is don't go chasing curveballs.
We love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.